Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the industry breakouts that preceded this session. I moved around and jumped into a whole bunch of them and saw that there were lots of engaging discussion and really interesting insights being shared. So I'm glad that you've hung in there with us to almost the end of the day. I promised you at the beginning that we'd make this a different type of conference with obviously valuable thought leadership content and interesting discussion and lots of participation and some fun along the way. And I hope we're living up to that expectation that we set for you. I want to show you something quite amazing. If you've been following Jesco along throughout the day, if you recall, I mentioned that she has been painting an piece of artwork entirely inspired by today. And I think we're going to be able to show you that piece of artwork right now. Here it comes. So check it out. This is really amazing. So this began as a blank canvas at the beginning of the day, and Jess has been listening to all of our conversation, and from that created this masterpiece. And I noticed many of you who have been popping in and out have been leaving some very nice compliments for Jess's talent. And of course, if you're interested in learning more about her, it's jesco.com, JESSGO.com. We'll make sure all that's available to you. But moving on, we're getting towards the end of the day and a really, really exciting session for you. So to kick it off, I'm going to pass it over to Brian Hendry, who's a partner in our accounting and assurance practice. He's also the tech and life sciences leader for the GTA. But aside all that kind of stuff, he's whip smart, fun, witty, and definitely the perfect person to introduce our keynote speaker. So Brian, over to you.
Wow, thanks, Neil. That was quite the list there. Appreciate all the compliments. But as Neil mentioned, I am the assurance accounting leader here in Central Canada at BDO. Our next speaker is actually somebody I know personally, and he's located in this lovely bubble of Whitby that I'm currently sitting in as you look at my camera. But his topic's actually, I'd say, very becoming in terms of where we are with regards to COVID. And ultimately, hiring the right people and continually motivating and engaging them helps us to continue to be the best firm in the mid-market. You know, we know our people and our culture is key to our success, and it's a key pillar within our firm. Now, the pandemic has made employee engagement challenging, and even the best firms are trying to figure it out. You know, we've made tremendous investments in our technology platforms to ensure that we're providing the right tools to connect with our teams. But technology is just one part of the equation. You can't have the best technology available without engagement. You won't see the results you're looking for. And our next session is really about to explore that. So I'm pleased to introduce our next speaker, Travis Dudeka, the culture curator at 360 Insights. We're going to get the Dudeka experience here. And for those that don't know, 360 Insights is a leader in incentive management with its headquarters here in Whitby in Canada. And it's also located in the US and the UK. And Travis has worked at 360 for the past 8 years to help them build an incredible culture and be one of the fastest growing technology companies in the country. So Travis, they're all yours.
All right, Brian. Well, thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here this afternoon. In person would be a lot more fun, but here we are. You stuck around all day, and I hope that this will keep you awake in the final, last home stretch of this conference. So I want to kick it off with a quick poll. So if you click over to the tab on your poll there, and we go to the next slide there, I want to solve some big problems before we get started. And this is about pineapple on pizza. And I just would love to know real quick how you're feeling about pineapple on pizza before we dive into this session. I want to know who I'm dealing with, who's in the room, not who I'm dealing with. I have the opportunity to speak with you, and I think that's amazing. So kicking it off, we'll just take 20 seconds to dive into this poll. There's a little polls tab beside the chat tab, and you can fill it out there. Well, so far, oh, wow. It's a race to the end. If you stay and watch, you can actually watch it unfold right before your very eyes with this incredible technology hopping. I'm really impressed. I've been hanging out for the day at the conference, and I think it's amazing. All right, so we'll give it another 10 seconds to see where you fall. If you missed it, then I don't know if you're passionate enough. All right. Yes, please. Never in a million years is only 20%. I wonder if that's geographically related or how that's going there. All right, we'll close that poll off. But thank you so much we can see that 56% of the team is in for pineapple on pizza. I love it. Going over to the next slide, just to give you some background on who 360 is, who I am. My name is Travis Dudeka, culture curator of 360 Insights, as Brian said. And we are an award-winning culture. We have an award-winning culture at award-winning company. And just to give you some context so you know who we are and who you're listening to, we have a user NPS of 86, client retention at 99.99.9, 0.5 point whatever percent, $150 million in compliance savings for our clients, and $3 billion in annual payments flowing through our platform online. So we've been doing this for a little while, and we've got some experience in the incentive space and channel sales. If you need some help, check us out. We could be your answer. But anyways, we have grown. When I started in 2012, from 50 people to almost 600 people today. And we're going to talk about scaling your culture as you grow and what it looks like. So when we think about coffee, it's one of my favorite things. I want to talk to you briefly about coffee because I think it has a lot to do with culture. So if you look over on the next slide here, you will see two very different coffee machines. And we're also going to get a poll in the poll channel there, keeping the team working hard in the background, trying to engage and figure out how this virtual world feels a little bit like the real world. So here you have a French press. It is one of the most basic ways to make a coffee, and it's about $40. You can probably find it for about $15. On the other side, you have a $4,000 fancy espresso robot that can make you any sort of coffee that you want. So I'm just curious of your favorite way to brew your coffee. So you just want to click over into the poll and let me know what is your favorite way to brew your coffee. Just again, give me a sense of who is in the audience. I think coffee says a lot about people. Not judging as the Tim Hortons is going up. I'm not judging. I love coffee, and I think that there's so much to learn about it. And it's a great way to connect with people. And in this time where we're so disconnected, something like coffee can really help us connect, or tea or water, just some sort of beverage. So we're just filling this out here. Beautiful, all over the map. No one's digging the Chemex. That's all right. We see lots of different coming in there. Anyways, thank you for participating in the polls. It was a little bit of an experiment for me to see what is happening there. And I see that French press is one of the winners. Drip brew, love it. Nespresso, so many different ways to brew coffee. And I think that has a lot to do with the culture that we create. So there's a $40 machine and there's a $4,000 machine. And the thing is that the $40 machine can make a better cup of coffee than the $4,000 machine, because the machine doesn't make coffee good. There's a lot of other elements that go into coffee that make it good. So we just flip over. Let's check out those ingredients of what is in coffee. So you've got the beans. You've got to have fresh roasted beans. You've got to have the right grind. You've got to have the right temperature of water. And you've got to have the right ratio. Otherwise, you could have a $4,000 machine and a cup of coffee that you wouldn't drink. And if you think about what's important to you, you think about hockey. Just because someone has the best equipment doesn't make them the best player. And likely they're the rookie because they just went out to Sports Check and bought all new gear. Or the baker who's not have anything, the painter who has nothing on them. They likely don't have the experience, the expertise in that field. But you want to play alongside the hockey player that's got the dented helmet and the ripped jersey, because you know they've spent time on the ice and they know what they're doing. And I think that when you look at culture and you look at technology, as you can see in the next slide, there's so many different technologies out there. There's no shortage of technology to allow you to invest in your people, right from, the recruiting side to engagement and all in between. And I'm going to spend just a few minutes at the end talking about some of my favorites. All you need to do is Google HR tech stack, and you will find thousands of different companies wanting to sell you their product. But it's really so simple if you think about the $4,000 machine and the $40 machine. I want to break that down a little bit. So in the next slide, you really could get started with something as simple as a cardboard suggestion box, an Excel spreadsheet, or free software like SurveyMonkey, a freemium software. So it's really not about the money that you spend. If you jump ahead to see, again, coffee maker is not that different from culture. The money that you spend on your software isn't going to give you a great culture, but it could help you get there if you understand the components. So real quick, want to highlight how I view culture. You've got the fruit and the root of culture. So the fruit of the tree is the part that you can see, taste, touch, experience. So it might be the swag, the t-shirts, it might be, when you're in office, the designs, the photos, the art around the office, it's all the cool stuff. And a lot of companies, especially around the Silicon Valley and the tech boom, started having so much money that they were investing all of these things in nap pods and massage therapists, private chefs. Those are all great, but they're the fruit of culture. They're the byproduct of a healthy culture. And a tree, not an arborist, but spend a lot of time around culture to understand that a healthy root system will always lead to a healthy tree, but an unhealthy root system won't, produce fruit. So the root system is the values in action. It's trust, it's honesty, it's the way you communicate, how often you communicate. And spending time investing in the root system as you grow will allow your tree to be huge, produce good fruit. And when you have it in healthy soil, which is the leadership, and 360 has incredible leadership with a vision for creating, an incredible product, but also an incredible company where people want to show up to work. And the funny thing is the people are who create the product. They're who sell the product. They're who service the product. So taking care of your people makes sense. So having a healthy leadership, investing time, money, and priority into the soil means that the tree is able to grab the nutrients and then feed the fruit. And then natural byproduct, you have a very fruitful culture and lots of fun going on there. So 3 ways that you can invest into the root system of your culture. And if you have any questions or comments, drop them in the chat. Happy to answer those questions at the end. So communication, connection, and celebration. And again, if we're thinking French press, to $4,000 coffee robot, anywhere in between, you can do this, whether you're online, virtual, or you're fully at work because you are running a facility or a retail store and you have to be there. This isn't just for tech companies. This is for anybody who wants to engage the humans that work for them. So communication, what are you listening to? What are you sharing? And what are you acting on when that information, what's the cycle of communication, both ways, to employees and then back from team members? How are you connecting? How are you facilitating connections, the depth and breadth of relationships? Do people get to know each other as people, or are they all transactions? Do you get to know the company? Are you connected to the company, the purpose of the company, the vision? And then finally, celebration. How are you celebrating? So what you measure gets done, but what you celebrate gets repeated. And I would even add, it gets repeated willingly because there's celebration. So we're going to flip it over to my good friend Maslow. You might have studied him in university. He built this thing that we know about called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And we think about it in psychology, and we think about it, it looks a lot like a marketing funnel as well when you think about the way that we're speaking to our potential buyers. And so when you look at it, there's the physiological component at the bottom. This equates to the employee experience, and it relates on every level to how we're engaging our employees and our team members. So on the physiological level, this is the table stakes. Like, are you paying people on time? Do they have an easy way to book vacation? What is the core elements of HR, the people and culture, where you're taking care of your team at a really, really fundamental level, food, water, shelter kind of level? We're looking at safety. So this is flexibility, security, confidence. How do we instill confidence and security in our people? We communicate, we keep them in the loop, we tell them what's happening. And then you think about love and belonging. Well, you might find your future spouse at work, but even just connecting to people on a real human level where you have direct managers caring for their team, you have cohesive teams working together, there's high trust, there's acceptance. And then you look at esteem, that's where celebration comes in. So there's growth, there's meaningful work, there's progress. And then eventually when you get to that self-actualization, you are developing an innovative, collaborative company that's going to benefit you in the end because the people are working at their full potential. So we jump down to communication, and let's look at what that looks like. I'll do a double click here right into communication. So a couple things I'll just throw out to you. Going through this real quick, I could talk for hours, and I'm happy to do that with you at another point. But one thing that we did is we built a communication cadence. Just like anything else in life, there's consistency that you build that turns it into something special. So what are you doing around communication that is making it work for you? So we decided to anchor it around our board meeting. What has to happen before the board meeting? What happens after the board meeting? And then how are we communicating all of that out so the company is staying up to speed? And this could involve a daily huddle, a leader talk track, team meetings, one-on-one, newsletters, videos. There's no shortage of ways to communicate. And what's important is understanding what's important to your team, what's important to your industry, and how do you make sure that there's that knowledge transfer happening both ways, listening and talking. And of course, one of my favorites is the employee engagement survey, which again, it could be done in a cardboard box or it could be done in SurveyMonkey. And I think the key to that, if you look at the next slide, and I'll be back in just a second, my camera decided to turn off, is very, very simple. You ask, you listen, you acknowledge, and then you act. So a lot of times we listen, we take it all in, and we process that information, and we don't do anything with it as employers. So it's really important that if we're going to ask the question, that we take time to read it, evaluate it, acknowledge it, and then act on it. One simple example, when we were a younger company, someone said, hey, it'd be really great if someone would put a radio in the bathroom so that no one hears me pee. And so really simply, we just put a radio in the bathroom. And you might have bigger challenges in your workplace than that, but it's something to keep in mind when people are giving suggestions. What we found is that employees don't get tired of doing surveys. What they get tired of doing is surveys that no one reads. So when your team knows that you are reading and that you're acting upon what they're saying, they're going to do something. They're going to continue to participate and give you feedback. And so one thing that we decided to do, if you just flip down, is we decided to publish that data back to our team. So there's some metrics there, the wins, the challenges. On the next slide, I've got an example of some of the comments that came in. There's the good, there's the bad. Someone said, like, it's really hard right now. Someone said, the server downtime was happening a lot and we didn't get that communicated to us. So we're putting that in there to let everyone know that we're looking at it, the positive and the constructive feedback in communication. We're jumping down to connection. There's so many ways to connect. And I think what's really important, especially in this time, is that we find ways to connect that are non-transactional. So there's always reasons why you and I connect, because I need something from you or you need something from me. And in the office setting, there's a lot more non-transactional relationship and interactions, coffee machine, walking through the hall, walking to a meeting, downtime in a meeting. But in the virtual worlds where we're much more disconnected or globally distributed, we need to find ways to have the non-transactional, just relationship building, some sort of activity that is low risk that can build trust. Because when we have trust, we're able to continue to go further, faster together. So click through the slides. There's just some examples back in the days when you could be around other humans. We were cleaning up garbage. We're making coffee in the office. We're celebrating autism awareness as a company. We decided to bring a DJ to one of our morning meetings and had a 4-minute dance party. We had our team get together and do an online from team building. And it was just different ways to connect people. There's short bursts of time. It's not what you do every day, all day, but there's short bursts of time that allow you to connect with your team in a way that builds trust. So when you need each other, there's that trust that's already there. And then finally, we get over to celebration. There's technology that will enhance all of this, but it really comes down to taking care of the people in your organization. So you can see when again, kind of flashback to the good old days pre-COVID, when we used to give people high fives when they started and we'd welcome them down a runway. So picture of this on the next slide, and then high-fiving everyone, making them feel special on their birthdays. Even though we're 57 people today, we celebrate people's birthdays. It's a moment in time that lets people know you care about them. Another example, super low tech. We bought a Polaroid camera and we took pictures of people when they won the Employee of the Month. We called it Honor Roll because we're in an old renovated school from 1902. And so they're on the Honor Roll. It is just a Polaroid camera, and it's a way to let them know that we appreciate everything they've done. And then when you create a culture of celebration, you will see employees celebrating each other. So I've got a picture of Rebecca here is celebrating her colleague. We didn't fund it. We didn't ask her to do it. She came in early and she set up the desk for her colleague beside her because we have a culture of celebration. So I want to leave you with 4 thoughts here in my final minute. That action over intention. I believe that you need to set your intentions of what you want to do, but if you're not acting, you can't improve. So action over intention any day, and then acknowledgement over silence. It is so easy, especially when we start asking for feedback, to ignore the difficult or uncomfortable conversations from our team, especially when it's a known area where we're not doing something well or as good as we could be. But acknowledging that and leaning into that conversation is far better than ignoring it and hoping it will go away. And then finally, tricked you. 2 more. Awareness over theory. It's not enough just to know about what you should do. You read the book, you listen to the podcast, but you need to know what's happening with your team, read the surveys, understand what's going on, and then listen to what's happening. And then finally, and maybe the most important one in my opinion, is consistency over perfection. And this was mentioned a few times. I think that Patch mentioned this. When you take care of your people, and you're consistent and you try, they'll appreciate that far more than perfection. So just keeping consistency in what you're doing. And then I will end just really quickly. We can jump over maybe to my final slide. So the right tools will magnify your ability to elevate the human experience in your business, but they will not create it. And so a couple of my favorite tools on that last slide there is, so I like coffee. Make sure you do what you need to do to make the coffee machine work. My final slide here, we've got a couple of my favorite software out there. You've got Teams and Zoom on the right-hand side that allow for connectivity. They're ones that we use. Predictive Index and Plum are great screening tools and manager coaching tools to understand your team and how they work together. Ultimate Software, or UKG, for your core HRIS and all sorts of other needs. It's the one that we use. And again, consistency over perfection. Worktango, Toronto-based organization, fantastic for employee engagement. And then Ask Deep Questions and Team Building. You're looking for new and exciting ways to get to know your team. I'd highly recommend checking them out. And finally, people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. It's a quote by Maya Angelou, and I believe that in this world of chaos, our team remembers what we try to do and how we made them feel as employees in our organization. And I will leave you with that thought. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Travis. You have so much natural energy when you're speaking. I definitely don't need a coffee right now. I feel pretty jazzed, and there's lots of very positive compliments for your presentation in the chat room. So this was very well received. Thanks for sharing your insights. I know you've learned a ton in the organizations that you've led, and you're quite a unique voice on the HR scene. So we're very grateful to have you share your insights with us today. And so, folks, we're getting down almost to the end of the day. I'm pleased to welcome back Pat Cramer, our CEO. He's going to join us by video shortly. There he is. Pat, how's Calgary treating you so far?
It's been a great day. No snow, so it's been a good day in Calgary so far.
That's good. I don't know whether there's been snow here or not because I haven't left my left my basement. But I'm grateful that everybody who is hung around for the entire day. We've asked a lot of you. You've been here with us for over 5 hours, and we promised at the beginning that we would make our best efforts to create an online experience that was different than what you've had before. We've all been invited to webinars and other conferences. But we had an aspiration to bring something both of really significant insight and value for you, but also something that would be entertaining and help make sitting in front of a screen much more than just passable. So with that, I'll pass it over to Pat to close out the day.
Great. Thanks, Neil. And what a day it's been. Some tremendous speakers. And I just want to share maybe some takeaways. I was trying to make a few notes along the way because there were so many important and thoughtful insights from our people. So Malcolm kicked it off, and he really challenged us, which I thought was a really good thing to do, because it is a challenge for us to think about, especially digital transformation. To really do it well, you've got to really do it better than your competition as best you possibly can, and there's no time like the present to really start making some momentum and to move it forward. Bill Siros from Lixar, great video, great comments there. A lot of comments in the chats, Bill, about BDO Beagle, as you saw, and about how important, and really giving insights as to all businesses and organizations about where we need to play, where we need to be, given the power of data. It's amazing how insightful data, when used in certain ways, can really point us in the directions that we need to go. Walter Flatt, thanks again for speaking. I met Walter the other day too. Just talking about a really better understanding of customer behaviors is really crucial. And you got to understand the customers before you understand their needs. And he had some really good insights for us as well. Patch, I met Patch a while back, and just like he presented, that's how Patch is. A tremendous presentation, Patch. Really good insights for people. Again, the chats were extremely strong. The key learning, from my perspective, is about kindness. And kindness starts with yourself, both in mind, body, and spirit. Really take care of yourself. And if you do that well, you can take even better. And then Travis, just now. Travis, I met last week. Great presentation to Travis. Really spoke about the need to look beyond technology so that we can truly connect with employees and team members. And I really like Travis's comment about non-transactional connection. That's where it needs to be so that it really becomes real to our people. So now we'd like to share a video. So we'll just turn to a video that's been done by our firm.
It's called digital transformation. To us, it's digital inspiration. It's possibility, a new world of opportunity. Whatever your organization was or is, you can now reimagine what you need to be and continuously reinvent yourself as exactly that. The digital economy is reshaping your industry, propelling companies that are quick to embrace it, exposing companies that choose to ignore it. It is reestablishing your priorities. Adapt, adjust, evolve. Agility, that's your new strength. It's realizing that there are new expectations of your people and processes and products and platforms. And now, you've got a decision to make. Who will be at your side? BDO is transforming our business to help our clients transform theirs. Through real-time access to data, advanced analytics, benchmarking, and automation, by making collaboration easier than ever before. Understand what is happening throughout your business as it is happening. See what lies ahead. Identify the efficiencies. Anticipate the impact of evolving regulations more quickly, more competitively than you ever have. Make data-driven decisions, more strategic decisions about what you do, how you do it, who you hire, your very business model for a future that is both brighter and less clear than ever before. Digital transformation is disruption, and disruption is opportunity. And like every opportunity, the first responsibility is to seize it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, but more importantly, the conference. And as the video spoke about reimagining your organization, what it possibly can be in this new world. I like to think about transformation in a human-centric perspective. I think we heard a lot of very strong themes today along that line. It's important that we really think about our business, though, in terms of how we can adapt, evolve, and grow our organization. But you got to do it through conversations, don't we? So I'll leave it at that. A real thank you to all the attendees for spending the day. And I hope you were inspired to rethink the possibilities of your organization and specifically in transformation of your organization, perhaps in a digital way. Thank you so much, and I'll turn it back to Neil.
Thanks, Pat, for closing us off. And just picking up on Pat's point, I want to thank everybody for joining us. To our clients who have spent the day with us today, we're very grateful for our relationship with you. And for those of you who are new to BDO, I really hope that your time together with us has given you a sense of who we are, what we're about, the kind of people that we are, and what kind of value that we can bring to you. And so I'm going to bring us to closure by asking all of you to grab a beverage, have a coffee, find a moment to relax. We're now about to be privileged by a very special performance, both a Juno Award and Polaris Prize nominee R&B singer. Tanika Charles is going to send us out for the day with a marvelous performance. I know that you will all enjoy it. Thank you very much for joining us. I wish everybody health and safety and lots of good things to come. Thank you very much.